Well, here we are again. It's 7 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern, and it's time for Mission Log Live. So put Giktal on pause or whatever Klingon acid punk you're listening to. Turn us up because even though we don't have wailing lamentations of dishonored Klingons, we have someone way more hardcore with us tonight. Everyone at home, say hello and give an old Dio metal salute to Ashley V. Robinson. Hello, Ashley.
Hello. The Jack Black fan in me is so happy that we got a Dio reference here today.
Always.
And tonight, as everybody knows, we are talking about Star Trek Lower Deck Season 2, Episode 3. We'll always have Tom Paris, which I said to myself a lot as I looked at his picture taped inside my high school locker. And remember to make sure, if you want more stories like that, to jump in line up your live calls with Earl, our sweet baby angel. He's standing by in the queue just for you. Click on the Zoom meeting link, use the one tap on your smartphone, or you can call us at 669-900-6833 and enter the meeting code and the password, or else you're not special enough to join the cool kids.
So I see that you have a trademark move. Every time you say something sweet, maybe this is like your poker tell, but you always do this little, your angelic thing here. Yeah.
It's because I have a really pointy face, and I think this makes me look softer.
How have you been? I haven't seen you in at least a week, but we've been texting fast and furious about our love for these episodes and pretty excited about tonight. Right?
Oh my God, so excited. I am sweating to death in California. I don't know how you're doing, but it's very hot here.
Well, before I had makeup, my bunnies, I've trained them to do hair and makeup. So that's why you see the frayed edges of my hair, a little bit of chewing going on, but they did they did pancake me up a little bit for makeup. They only have paws. They're not very dexterous, but I fed them treats, so they're okay. They're doing
I feel
all
like
right
the
right
tails
now.
would be really great though for the powder to kind of take away the shine. I think you have a better helper than I do in the cat.
Well, I'm working on that. It's only their first day. They didn't know that was going to happen, so I'll give them, first day leniency there. Speaking of live calls, because you did mention the number, remember it's 669-900-6833. Remember all that information that you should have been paying attention to because Ashley was doing her angel face thing so that you can remember. And we have a very, very, very special guest later on in the show. So don't change that dial, not even for Klingon acid punk. I know it's difficult. Let's say hi to what's going on in the chat. So I'm going to scroll back up because the chat we start like letting people in the chat room early and it is on fire. Like literally, no, just figuratively. I don't know. Some people are in California, so they might be on fire.
Fast and Furious, which according to my understanding, does actually go to space. So maybe it's canon.
Well, let's see. So we have Phil, hello. And so Half Measures, my friend Paul from New Zealand. So we have one Paul chiming in. Oh, Paul Harvest, that's two. Oh my God. Hi, Aaron. Let's see. Brian, good to have you here. Carlos, yes, we did miss you. Hello, Scott. Hello, John Arminio.
Hi, John.
That's that. Like in those international translation tapes, all of a sudden, like the English word will be like really bold, like donde está la Michigan Library,
Yes.
Biblioteca. So let's see. Oh, Paul Wright is here. That is a Paul Fecta, Paul Newcorpia. Fantastic. Matt's here. Good to see you, Matt. Yes, a Paul Newcorpia. Also trademark. Someone put that on a t-shirt. Good to see you, John Cooley. Alan, bringing his A game. We'll see if he phases in or out, if he's going to be on in our call queue. Carlos, let's see. Rolling down. Dominic, hey, Dominic. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Hey, Mike Richards. Hey, Captain Mike. It's so wonderful to have everyone here. We have a lot to get to, and we just want to let you know what's coming up here on Mission Log Live. Now, if I'm not like as manic like I usually am around this time, we're about 5 minutes in. I usually have at least flubbed most of my lines, but I'm not really going on the script. That's because I am half caffeinated, but I am repping Cork's Bar tonight with a little bit of a decaf.
Walk to your house and steal that cup from you.
It took me a long time to find it. I had to bribe so many people. I had to bribe, and then they had to bribe, and so on and so on and so on. Then it finally got back to me. And it does make the coffee taste a little bit more expensive. Just a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah. Must be lined with a little bit of platinum residual.
Right on the
Uh,
inside.
right on the right on the inside. So here's what's coming up, Ashley, on Mission Log Live. Next week, you will be returning with us, and we will be discussing Lower Decks Season 2, Episode Quattro, starring a Mogato. See what I did there?
I did.
Yeah. And that's all I know about it. There isn't a title for that episode anywhere on the interwebs. I know Mogato. I know that there's
Ooh.
Mogato dung, and I know that
Yes.
Shax is eating it. So,
Oh, yeah.
so that's going to be exciting. We'll see how that works out. Also, this week on Mission Log, we'll be releasing on this Thursday, Deep Space Nine Chrysalis. On to other news. So,
That's fair.
I will save that all for the drop.
We will listen when the time comes.
Yes. And I hope that you enjoy what we had to say. And of course, we will also be discussing that very same episode later on that evening on Patreon Mission Logs Discord After Dark show. And then tomorrow, John and I will be recording the next episode after Chrysalis for our Wednesday drop. There's so much stuff. I can't keep it all in line, in order. So lots of stuff coming up. But I asked you something a little earlier last weekend. Was it last weekend? I wanted to see how you felt about taking on your first Lower Decks recap.
I felt panic is what I felt.
Did it make you sweat like you're sweating now?
I am sweating right now, and I was sweating at the time I wrote this and at the time you asked me. And I believe I capped it off with, if this is terrible, you can redo it.
I'm sure it's fine. So tonight we're going to be talking about, we'll always have Tom Paris. And take it away, Ashley.
Okay, so Boimler is back again where he belongs on the USS Cerritos, although she clearly doesn't feel the same way about him that he feels about her. The Cerritos doesn't recognize Boimler. It begins kind of inconveniently with the replicator rejecting authorization and offering a bonsai tree as sustenance to Boimler, eventually leading to him being locked inside a Jeffries tube, but more on that later. Dr. T'Ana, meanwhile, needs her trusty orderly Tendi to pick up a family heirloom, which is definitely not that. Tendi sees this as an opportunity to bond with Mariner. Sure, they've spent a lot of time together, but are they really friends? It's an important question. Away mission, we don't know her. This subplot is officially a girls' night. Girls' night. Woo, woo. Woo! Tendi and Mariner make it to Quailor, I don't know, make fun of me on Twitter. 2. In a trip populated with broad stereotypes about the Orions as a culture and Tendi being an utter badass. Did you forget about the Orion's pheromone control? Because I definitely did. But no one in this episode did, and that is the important thing. Tendi literally puts her boot on a dude's neck in a move that could be considered sexy to some viewers, and I'm using it as an excuse to talk about anything other than the generational wooden scratching post that Dr. T'Ana has had Tendi and Mariner retrieve for her own grown-up reasons. Ponfar jokes abound. There are also many Deep Space Nine references. A mini-series about Mariner's adventures on the station? I don't know. Who said that? Who could ever have possibly mentioned such a thing? Back on the Cerritos, it's all Voyager references with Tom Paris coming aboard. Boimler geeks out about my Voyager crush coming for a visit and preps his ceremonial plate for autographing. Sounds to me like he would do well at STLV with this level of preparedness. Because the ship hates him, Boimler is forced to make his way to the bridge via the Jeffries tube. Remember when Tom Paris chased a mouth through a Jeffries tube that one time? No, Brad Boimler does. This knowledge carries him through increased attacks at the hands of the Cerritos to the point of hallucination. Oh, did I forget to talk about Rutherford? He has been having his own adventure separate from his fellow lower deckers when he discovers that Shax isn't dead. Baby Bear can't wrap his head around the standard genre trope of higher-ups coming back to life, despite most of the crew reminding both him and the viewers that this stuff happens all the time. It is not to be thought too long or hard about. Back on Quaylord 2, without the necessary latinum to repair the damages caused to Dr. Ta'ana's sexy stick, Tendi and Mariner must work together to salvage the relic, the mission, and each other. A daring escape planet-side bonds the ladies closer than ever before. Then Tendi and Mariner, having escaped the Orion pirates, learn that Tendi's first name is Devana, and almost utterly failing at the mission, arrive back on the Cerritos. Heads hung, they give over the relic to Dr. Ta'ana, who is utterly thrilled. And like my cat Brego, all she wanted was the box. So everyone winds up happy.
Wow. Brilliant. Everyone out there in Chatland, round of applause. However you do it with the emotes. That was fantastic. That was utterly fantastic. You had me riveted and utterly satisfied the way that Dr. Ta'ana was in her box at the end. I was purring.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. No, that was fantastic. So much fun. However, I do want to have, I have one editor's note for you in that whole thing. Because you said Voyager, you took up too much time. I would like you to have said Voy.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, just an editor's note for later, though. I heard somewhere, and this is a complete lie, but I think it makes for good entertainment. I heard that the working title of this episode was "How Shax Got His Paw Back."
A paw with two A's.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, I've said this on Mission Log many times. I have seen some Voyager. My favorite episode so far, my guiltiest pleasure, is Threshold. I love Tom Paris as a character, and I love the fact that he's on a handshake mission for reasons. Right?
It reminded me a lot of, I think it was supposed to be a reference to, how Trek actors make the circuit and tell their stories and everything, but also given the fact that Robert Duncan McNeil and Garrett Wong have also started a podcast recently, I took it as sort of a shot across the bow at that.
A little break in the fourth wall, just kind of like the outsiders in, right? So one of the reasons why I think we both love this show is because it makes us laugh. I rarely ever just cackle out loud, but that dude that was talking about Klingon acid punk,
oh man,
right?
That I'm assuming he's supposed to be the same. Like, I'm assuming he's supposed to be a Cadian.
Looks like, yeah.
Because he looks feline, but I also loved the attitude that he gave until Tendi proved that she was cool. Because we all know those people in our life, and it's nice to know that not just humans are like that.
Exactly. Like once you drop the in the know, then everything's cool, right? And until then, we're kind of like we're not really each other's fans right now, right? And all of a sudden, it's like, yo, remember that scene with that one dude that one time? Like, dude, I was totally there. Oh, we're buds. Besties.
He would have done so well. Besties. He would have done so well working at Amoeba, RIP Amoeba. That's totally. An LA reference for everyone.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite moments on the show?
I mean, Shax, of course, one of my favorite characters from last season. I was devastated when he passed away. So happy to have him back. But also, not introducing Tom Paris as the creator of Fairhaven. It was so brilliant and so shady. I want it on a t-shirt. I would wear it. Fairhaven, I don't know if you've seen that episode, but debatably skippable depending on how hard you love Voy. That was the moment that got me above all else, was the creator of Fairhaven.
I am so glad that you have embraced the editor's note. It makes me happy.
I want to keep the gig. So.
Yeah. So let's see. We have some callers lined up, and love to take the calls right now. So Earl, who do we have first, and why are you wearing such a bright pink shirt? Is this a theme thing?
This is the week 2 t-shirt.
Yeah.
So okay.
Double Boimler and the Titan, and it's phasing out. But yeah, so that's the week 2 t-shirt from the T-shirt Club, which is once again back every week.
I'm a terrible host, Chris. I should say that we have Chris on the line. But the pink
Chris
just bedazzled me.
Chris is always the first caller. It's just
bedazzled my eyes.
So yeah, this is the week 2
cool.
t-shirt. Yeah, new t-shirt every week. This week's t-shirt is obviously Tana in the box. It's in a kind of modern pop art style. the
Yeah.
same style. If you remember the Cube Dog shirt from last season,
I have the
Oh,
Cube
yeah,
Dog
yeah.
shirt.
So it looks kind of like that, but it's Tana in the box, doing her thing. So yeah, that's the pink T-shirt. No, this was a really great episode. I feel like Mike McMahon and the team just like went into my head and like wrote this specifically for me. I love it so much. I love Mariner lore. I love Tendi lore. I love the whole concept of the girls' trip. It's just, oh, it's so wonderful. I love it all.
Is there anything that they did in their antics that was kind of like a surprise to you? Like it was like a surprise to each other?
I think the scene, not a surprise, but I think the scene that hit me the most is the scene when they're visiting Tendy's cousin, and Mariner doesn't know Tendy's name, and there's the way Tawny and Noelle played that, and the way it's sort of drawn out. And I love Tendy's line is like, I forget what she says about, but she says like Beckett. She like emphasizes that she knows Mariner's first name. I thought that was like a great episode because this really hit a lot of like emotional spectrum of like, this is feel good. This is like, what's going on? Are they going to get this resolved? And obviously they have what I think is probably my favorite scene is that scene in the cockpit at the end where they sort of bare their souls and they're like, we have our flaws, but they still, care about each other despite their flaws, which I thought was a really sweet sort of morals, meaning, messages moment. Definitely.
Ashley, how many times did you watch the episode just to kind of like ferret out like all the stuff that was going on? Because there were 3 storylines at least going on. There was the Shax and Rutherford storyline, there was the Tendy Mariner storyline, and there was the Boimler plate storyline. So how did you sort that all out?
So I watched it once, not sober, which was awesome.
Is that when you wrote the script?
But I definitely panic wrote the script this morning. And then I will say that made it awesome, but it's hard to retain anything when you do that. So if anyone else is doing that, I would recommend revisiting because the episode does stand out. Watched it once again to be like, was this as awesome as I remember it? Because it is also the 800th episode of Star Trek that's ever been aired and ever, I don't know if ever made, right? Because your production order is wild, but like such a great episode to be such an important mile marker on this. So then I watched it once sober, and then I watched it. I started it, I think, at about 5:45 California time right before this. I like to watch it right before. So 3 times for the 3 storylines and 3 times to be emotionally gratified that Shax came back the very next season and that the girls got to have some interactions together, because that's a really important dynamic that gets left out in a lot of media. And I love that everyone who works on Lower Decks is smart enough to be like, we should address this.
Right, totally. What I loved about like watching it like multiple times, you're always seeing like these little nuggets of learning. Like it's surprising how much like they slip in like these very mission log-esque morals, meanings, and messages moments, right? Especially at the end. And it's, I'm not, an expert in the terminology, but Tendi and Mariner, the Bechdel test was definitely passed.
Yes, it
In
was.
that shuttlecraft ride back home. So, I'm wearing this T-shirt, by the way. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm gonna hoist myself up. I'm gonna do my very first dip of the day. Hope my triceps can handle it.
Is that what you would be asking the replicator for, even if it did not recognize you?
Well, I'm doing this because I'm a fan of hot sauces, and one of my favorite scenes is when Shax he ordered the kiwi spicy relish for the hot dog, because I want to try that now. I'm a fan of kiwis. I'm a fan of hot sauce. So let's see if the two meet. And
what makes it spicy? Is it tahini, like what you do with a mango or something like that?
What makes the kiwi hot sauce spicy?
Yeah, what makes it spicy?
Attitude. Attitude makes it spicy. It's how you order it. See, the way that Boimler ordered his food, he's like, someone give me something. I need something to eat, please. And Shax is like, kiwi, spicy. That's how you do it, right?
With authority.
With authority, right? You have to make the replicator fear you. That's the only way to do it.
Literally the most powerful machine, the creation machine, the god of the ship, you must make fear you.
This is how Kirk wins all the battles with computers every single time. Right?
Well, he also romances them because they're almost always ladies.
Also fear. So I'm just saying. This is just a matter of perspective. Sorry, Chris, we're completely hijacking your call. But
No, it's good. It's good. I would say on the topic of the kiwi ketchup thing, it sort of reminds me. There's at ArcLight, RIP ArcLight. They had a watermelon sort of like remoulade thing that they would put on their hot dogs, and it wasn't spicy, but I'd imagine you could make it spicy. And so I'm imagining something like that as the kiwi thing. Yeah. Also, in regards to the watching, I like to watch it twice. I watch it once on Thursday and then once right before the show, like Ashley. I also like to watch the first time. I'm just sort of listening. Not that I'm not watching, but like the first time I'm just listening, and the second time I actually like to sort of pay attention to like the animation and the animatics, because a lot of times there's like really interesting body language that you don't catch the first time. Like I remember in the premiere when they're talking about, oh, I bet Boimler's having fun. They cut back to Mariner, and it's like half a frame, but she has this sort of like sad look on her face when they're talking about how much fun Boimler's having. And so I like to sort of, watch the body language, that they've animated in. But yeah, no, this was a really great week. I'm very excited to see where this is going. Definitely, probably my favorite of the season so far.
All right. Favorite of all 3 episodes. That's so good, man. Like I'm just saying, in a short season, that speaks highly of it. But remember, there's a Mugatu coming up next episode, so that's good stuff, right? That's classic. Anywho, so Chris, thanks for calling in. We have a bunch of callers, and our special guest star is waiting in the wings. So we're going to have one more caller, then a little bit of station identification, and then we're going to launch the second half of the show. You do not want to miss this. So let's bring on Alan. Alan, what's happening, my man?
Hey, Norman,
Hello.
Ashley, it is thrilling to be back with you again this week. Another week, another fine episode of Lower Decks, or Low as we call it. Is there an official one? I keep
I don't
trying
know.
to think if it's.
All I know is like somebody out there really needs to take the font from Disco and put out the Voy, put out, I don't know, like 9 or maybe the number 9, and then
It's usually
low.
DS9 is.
Yeah, DS9.
I do remember when Disco started, though, the discussions about what that abbreviation was going to be before we settled on Disco.
Yeah.
And those impolite options.
I like LDS. It's just so in universe, right?
It's true. Yeah.
I think Ashley's watched a little too much LDS. LDS. Yeah. Right.
Especially
what do you think about the episode, bro?
I thought it was good. I like you guys. I was happy to see the Tendi Mariner pairing, because I do think that was sort of a needed thing that they were well versed in addressing, and it's about time that they got those characters together. I'd like to see a Rutherford Boimler bro out episode at some point, just sort of get everybody sort of connected outside of their usual pairings. It's just a lot of great Star Trek stuff, going to Qualar 2, going to Starship Earhart, and playing Domjot versus a group of saucy Nausicaans.
Were you waiting for someone to get a knife through the chest? Is that what you were waiting for?
Not specifically, but I'm it's not that kind of party. But
also, Tellarites in that bar.
Oh,
he was trying to keep the peace, which is hilarious for a Tellarite, right?
Right,
Like, hey,
absolutely
guys,
not what I would have expected that character to be doing, which I think speaks volumes about the level of conflict that we were witnessing.
Yeah. And it's just it's always nice to have a show that asks the important questions, like, what was up with T'Pol's hair that one year?
How dare you? How dare you? No, I understand.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was good. It's just, God, yeah. Also, spicy hot dog condiment. Can we throw out currywurst? Would that be a good option?
Currywurst
You can throw it out
good,
if you want.
Mm.
But I think that I think that with kind of like the delta on the bottom of the shoes, I think the next big thing for the conventions is going to be everyone's going to have a hot dog meetup with spicy kiwi, condiment and possibly street corn. That's what we
Yeah.
want to
Oh,
see happen.
please,
you
the
know.
street corn though.
Right? Exactly. I want to have like pips all over my chest. I'm like, look at me. I'm a freaking admiral. Look at all the corn on my chest.
The 6-star admiral. It's
Go to
not
the go to the concession stand, get your bonsai tree. It's all
Yeah.
good.
See, that's the thing. Okay, so I was talking about this the other day. There's a Star Wars thing where people run around with like an ice cream machine and like an orange jumpsuit, right? They do that in all the Star Wars conventions.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to run around with the Boimler thing and the tree. because
Wilro
I'm hilarious.
Hood. Yeah. Yeah. We'll do.
Wilro Hood. That's it. Exactly. Yeah. Awesome, man.
Oh, yes.
Oh, hey,
Oh.
look at that. I can't get a background on my Discord panels, but I can get a rim shot here on Mission Log Live. So that's technology for you. Earl, you just earned your pay. I won't say anything
Hey.
bad about you in the credits. All right, one last bit here, and then
Yeah.
we got a break for station identification, and then we're going to get on to our special guest star.
No worries. Yeah. Just I again, I'm continually amazed by the little nuances that they get to put in these shows, and the fact that even at half the length of a typical Star Trek, you still get all the story, you still get all the character moments, and you get a lot of funny too. So I mean, what's not to like?
Exactly. Totally agree, man.
So, well, have a good
All
one.
right.
It's been awesome.
All right, Alan,
Nice to see you
I'm
fully
expecting your meme
corporeal
game,
again.
dude. I'm expecting your meme game on point for this Thursday. Don't disappoint me. Not
Fingers
the way that
crossed.
I can't say what I was going to say, or else I'd spoil my own podcast.
How
So,
dare? How
I know. Thanks.
dare?
Thanks, Alan.
Yep.
We're going to take a little bit of a break here and talk about, I've dropped Patreon and Discord a couple of times here on the show. That's because I just wanted to give a huge shout out and a huge thanks to everyone who supports Mission Log on Patreon. Patreon is our subscription that helps fund the show. And we also have access to a Discord server where people can join a variety of different threads, from talking about the podcast to talking to John and myself live, to talking about pretty much every food or every possible cocktail that you want under the sun, because that's pretty much mostly what the threads are. But we talk about everything. And it's a great place for the community to come together and to share like-minded interests and to just be fans together. So we've had some fantastic discussions on our Thursday night Mission Log After Dark shows, discussing the live drops. And on Sunday mornings, Morn is my handle there because, like Morn, we just talk so much. But it's just great to have everyone just very energetic, very sharing and caring, and creating this incredibly valuable community for the Trek fans out there. So I just want to thank everyone who's participating. And if you'd like to sign up, and if you'd like to support Mission Log in that way, you can go to missionlog.com /Patreon. Or patreon.com/missionlog. That's what I should say. Patreon.com/missionlog. Forget everything that I said before I got the right address there, because I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all of you to join us. And here we are, back half of the show. I promised you a special guest. I wasn't lying. Do we have a drum roll, or at least a rim shot? I don't know how he wants to get brought in there, Earl. All right, rim shot it is. So for
Oh no.
okay.
Oh,
So
sad trombone played by William Riker.
without further ado, Mission Log Live. We'd like to welcome Fred Tatasciore. Welcome.
For God's
That's
sake, it's so good.
All
to see
I
you.
needed. Thank you so much. My
Thank
whole
you so
life
much.
is
Thank you.
made.
It's an honor to be here. Definitely. Hanyu. Sorry, Adu.
It's great to have you here. I promised John, and I don't think I promised Ashley this, so I only have 50% of it in the boat right now. But I wasn't going to ask you, how did you come back? I'm not supposed to ask you that question, right?
This is really tough. Whether I was brought back microscopically from a Borg lab or survived a recreation from a parallel dimension, both are possibles. I'm still here. It was very painful, and I'm glad to be here by the prophets. No, really, Your guess is as good as mine. It really is. It's fascinating. I love the fact that it just happened. The thing is that Shax is so tough as nails. I could just see somehow he just, by determination and by strict discipline, somehow I made it back.
If there was like one atom of him alive, that atom would fight for life.
It would
like
fight to
regenerate him,
death
right?
and get a mitochondria and find a way.
Truly imagining him at the Prophet's
Right.
portal being like, I still have business to do. Baby Bear's not ready for me to leave him. I will come back when the time is right.
Actually, I think that is actually the best. That is the best scenario, actually. I can see that. But I'm not done yet. Come on. And they're like, you are done, Shax. There is much to explore in other universe. No. Baby Bear needs me. Rutherford needs me. I see it. And what I love is just how shattered he is, though. Like coming back. That was the best part. It was just like, how are you doing? I don't want to talk about it. Really, it's best left unsaid. And
When you see that on the page, Fred, like how do you interpret that? Like what do you think's going on in Shax's head?
For me, it's funny you say that. I really do have to kind of create a backstory for myself.
Yeah.
And it is something of that nature. It was I always went for the parallel dimension thing. That there was just that, yes, and that we all. And by the way, I hope I'm not going off. I hope Mike doesn't mind me talking.
Canon confirmed.
I know.
Headlines.
You know how it is, though. Like you just feel so bad. Like I'm going to say stuff that nobody wants me to say. But the fact is that there are a lot of parallel dimensions, and that sometimes you have a negative version of yourself somewhere. And what I love the fact is that Shax's negative version of himself is himself. Like there's a point of this, like it's just like destroy it all. No, I am the same damn person, and I'll tell you, I really like a good song. He's just still a good guy, but he's still out negative himself. I don't know. It was shocking.
I'm sorry, Fred. Let me ask you this.
No, please.
How many scripts? I have that. There's a two-part question. How many scripts do you get to see ahead? And if it's possible, do you think that Shax would be the guy now who's like maybe a little, he's a little softer, a little bit more reserved, instead of like blow everything up? It's like, do you really think we should do that?
Okay, for the first question, I don't get to see. I get to have full scripts, which I love. I get to read the full thing. I do get all the scripts, and I get to read get to know what's happening right now. I don't get a sense of what's happening in the future. This is just like, working on Walking Dead. I have so many friends that work on that show. They're like, I don't know if I'm going to die this season. Like that's kind of how it is for me.
Did you know you were not super dead, not totally dead when that happened? Did you know you'd be coming back?
Only mostly dead?
Am I allowed to say this? Yes, I did. And it was crazy for me to keep the secret. It was so funny how many interviews and how many people I've talked to. I'm like, yeah, well, because it's all true. He went out the way he would want to.
Sure.
He went out heroic. He went out helping, his loved ones, his team. So for me, even if that was the end, and as a voice actor, many of my characters, we're talking about Star Wars, nobody survives. I die so many times. It's terrible, and so this was just another one of those he's going to die. But it was great because if you're going to die, you're going to go out in the blaze of glory, literally. I believe he went out punching a guy during an explosion. And this was the greatest time of his life, because my backstory for Shax is that he survived a lot of revolution. I don't know. I kind of feel like he came to the Federation late in life. I feel that he is well steeped. I feel he's a survivor, and he really looks at, I just love this guy. He really looks after, his people. But he's flustered. He gets angry, and as a humanoid of a certain age, it's like the technology is just pissing me off, but he does care, and so I was aware that we're coming back, but the sort of joke was that there was going to be no explanation, so that is tough, but in a way it's kind of wonderful because it shows a bizarre resilience. And I love the fact that it was actually not a good experience for him. Like
Right.
this really was a very traumatic experience, and it's really not the time to talk about it. Like if I was really going to honor my friend here, I'd be like, I really think we need to move on. Yeah, but that makes me more curious, doesn't it? That makes me wonder, like, what happened?
Well, I'll tell you, Fred. Like I think there are a lot of curious fans out there. We're having an
too.
incredible Fast and Furious just
I
activity
know.
in the chat. But if you would you love to take a couple of other calls with us? And stay on
I
the line?
certainly would, but please, I want to please forgive me in advance in that I probably don't know the answers to a lot of these questions that you may be asking. I really, I want to honor that.
That's
You know,
fine.
just-
That's totally fine.
But as an actor, you do have to kind of create the reality. And for me, it was like a parallel dimension thing. It's still him. It's really him. It's not.
Yes.
It's him. Okay.
Well, I
And,
hope sooner or later, somewhere along the line, I hope that Shax gets to tell the story about his eye.
I
and
do
his
too.
scar.
Yes, well, that
Right?
yes, and that's probably a lot with his upbringing. I think he's seen too much. They really, I mean, let's talk the Bajorans. They've really suffered. They really do have a very hard tale. And if you are a Bajoran, you have made it through. And I feel that he's a deep, as aggravated and as crazy as he is, he's actually a very deeply spiritual guy. So I feel that he has a certain level of kung fu that would work to bring himself back. But it was probably very, very, very difficult. And it's still him, though, y'all. It's not, it's...
All right, you heard it from him. You heard it from Fred. So,
And now, by the way, and I'll maybe eat my words when we find out some weird script later where, I don't think so, though. Because, like you say, what I love is how soft he is. That's what a lot of people don't know. I've been playing the comedy of him blowing up stuff, and his first reaction is to like, I think we must destroy the warp core. I think we must, like his reactions oftentimes are extreme for a security guy. That's kind of, but he's the guy you want in a fight, and he, like to help you. And he's a sweetheart. He actually really cares about people. He really does.
Big Bear. You have Big Bear and Baby Bear, right?
But
He's
that's fairly typical of the Bajorans that we see. Like
That's
Ro
right.
and Kira also started out
Kira.
as really hard fronted, and then
Yeah.
we saw their emotional journey and we learned about their time in the Resistance. So
Both
you were
of those
in
were my models.
fabulous company.
Yeah, Kira was a perfect model for that. Absolutely. Yeah,
Ooh,
totally.
maybe Shax was part of the Shakar.
Maybe they kissed once. I just want everyone to kiss on the show.
I know. Oh, he's in love with the doctor, but we won't get into it. All right.
Headline
Well,
canon.
We
official.
know that. Yeah, right.
Well, jumping into this swirling melee of amazingness.
Oh,
here,
my gosh.
we have John Arminio. So, John, welcome.
John.
And say hi to Fred. Say hi to
Hey,
Ashley.
John.
Hello, Fred.
Yes,
great
good
to see you again. Thank
Good
you.
to see you again. Hi, John.
So what's happening, man?
I'm great. This is such a great episode. Thank you, Fred, for joining us again.
Oh, it's an honor.
Thank you. One of the things that I really thought was very deep about this episode was how it touched on like work friend relationships,
Yes.
like how he deeply, between Rutherford and Shax, and then between Tendi and Mariner.
Mm-hmm.
How you can have such deep connection with people while at your job, but especially if they're from another race or background, there's like this 75% of their life that you're just not familiar with, and no matter how intimate you get at work, there's this barrier between your relationship at work and then at home, and it can be sometimes very painful and awkward to bridge that gap. And I for a 25-minute show, I thought that was incredibly deep and insightful.
I agree. I equate it to wartime. I mean, we all work in production, a lot of us. So production kind of is like that, but really wartime is like that too. The idea that you spend time on a warship, or like you spend time with somebody in battle, and someone is your superior. They're your captain, your lieutenant, you're the private. And then once that's done, you're in the private sector, you're in the, the civilian sector, and those connections are no longer there. And it's very interesting. Like, you're right. You don't know 75, 50% of that person's life. And yet in the heat of battle or in the heat of exchange, you guys connect in a very deep way. And I love how I totally agree with you. I love how the show, shows that. Like, we still don't know anybody's real. They don't know. We know as an audience, we know their backgrounds better than they do. And so it's kind of it's really interesting to see, like, oh, okay, how they deal with each other. And that's actually one of those. By the way, John, that's an excellent observation of the show. It's really good
thank you.
That. No, it really is. That is shown actually more than other shows. Actually, that is their relationship is drawn out of their experiences in this sort of contrived environment. And yeah.
Well, and Starfleet is often referred to as a peacekeeping armada, and sometimes I think the more militaristic aspects of that get tampered down to deal with the sort of secular humanism that Gene Roddenberry infused from the original series. And this episode, as John pointed out, is such an excellent example of those types of relationships without having to throw anyone into a wartime scenario.
Right.
This is a pretty safe episode.
Yeah.
At least as far as the Cerritos business is concerned.
Most definitely. Yeah.
It also falls into the tradition of Star Trek that we've seen this before. And I'm glad that Lower Decks was able to touch on this because, say, for instance, in Star Trek Beyond, there was that scene where when Kirk said, when did Sulu have time for a family to make a family? Why wouldn't he know that? They never talked about that. Or even in Star Trek 5, when Sybok was, bringing up their deepest, darkest emotions. Kirk didn't know that about McCoy's father. He didn't know that about Spock's shame. And these are his closest friends. But there's just a threshold. I got you. Ashley did not respond. I wanted you to respond. I said, there's a threshold. You won't. She won't give me the satisfaction.
You can't see me.
That they won't cross. That they won't cross. That there's a professionalism versus kind of like a private life. And even if they go camping
I'm sorry,
together,
I was too mad. I was too busy being mad about secret siblings. And what a trope that's become ever since Sybok introduced it.
So many hard feelings.
But it's true. Yeah, they were that close, and they wouldn't comment on something like that to bring somebody out of what job they have to do. That was a big thing for McCoy's father. That was a very deep problem for him. A real, a life-defining moment for him to be the way he is, right?
Exactly.
And why would you try to bring him out of that space? To bring him down in a sense. That's too much to bring up. But it's great to be exposed to that and to really know somebody's life in a deep way like that.
And it just deepens the bond, right?
It does,
Between
truly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
John, we have time for you for about one more question with Fred, and then we're going to get on to our next caller.
I hope I can answer this.
Please tell me you were one of the Klingon choir voices for the Klingon acid punk, because as a metal fan, I just gave me such glee to hear no. Coming out of the Star Trek episode.
I mean, if you're gonna have, yes, thank you. And if you're gonna have Klingon acid, what a great thing to have Klingon acid punk. I mean, Kapla, today is a good day to die. Like how perfect. And we've heard Klingon music before. It was more of a ballad. But I just love the fact that they did that. I really do.
That was perfect.
We have Worf with all of his operas, right? And you have with Chang saying, you haven't heard Shakespeare unless it's done in the traditional original Klingon. But now you have Klingon acid punk followed up. Literally following up an episode previously where you had Kalis' sex helmet. We're talking about a lot of things and kind of the Klingon, deviant society of Klingon, culture that we've never seen before, which I think is amazing, right?
And honestly, that we've been waiting for that because we've only seen certain aspects of this planet. We've only seen certain aspects of these people, and it's so nice to get a kind of a more rounded approach of who they are, what they'd be into, and they've got to have some great music coming out. You know what I mean? Some great poetry. They're so, in some ways, well spoken. You know what I mean? They really are. No, it's poetry. You know, it's dark and it doesn't address. I remember I was very lucky. I think we talked about this last time, but I was able to do some translation work speaking Klingon in some of the films, and the creator to the Klingon language was helping us out. And I would say at the end, how would we say goodbye? And he's like, we wouldn't. But I love that, just like, there was a certain, my favorite thing of the Klingon thing is when someone passes, and we're all present, you have to yell, you have the spirit yell as that. I think that is just badass. I think that's so cool. We should
Can you give us one?
that.
Like,
Just like as soon as they die, it's like, okay, I got to lower so I don't blow out the speakers.
Right.
Just like,
it's all for you guys.
Here, well, I'll just.
I think he has passed. Yeah! And that is the thing. Yeah. And that it is the spirit leaving the body. You know what I mean? And I thought, man, birth is hard enough, but now death, they have a bunch of three Klingons yelling for the departure of your spirit is.
Yeah, what's a 21-gun salute compared to that, right?
Come on. It's exactly how you feel. Sorry to be dark, but like that's like that was, I thought, man, that just gave them a humanity that I just loved. Just like, wow. As much as we pick on them, and they pick on everybody, it's like I was like, I respect that. You would not understand. That's my Michael Dorn. You would not understand. You are not a warrior. Yeah.
Should we have a wharf off? It's like, I don't understand what you're saying, Fred.
I do not understand what you're saying.
I feel like you're
Norman.
both coming for the inevitable Young Worf animated series. You're trying to get that gig away from Mr. Dorn.
No, I would never do that. That man, by the way, I'm sure you've worked with him or talked with him. He is so talented in every way. And like, he does a voice that will untie your shoe. Like you'll be, like the session. Oh, how are you? And everyone's always asking him to, do that voice. And he has a range. Like, he does everything. But, everyone's like, can you just do the voice? He's like, can I just be the scientist or no? Okay.
Oh, he should have played Willie Mays in a biopic.
Please. Oh my God. And by the way, I'm going to also promote that man is a slamming bass player. He is, yes.
Ooh. So his bass
okay,
has
so
honor.
I need you to start a band.
His bass has honor. No, he's a wonderful guy. I've worked with him many times, and just oh man, what a talent, and just multi-talented, and never had to speak as much Klingon as some others. He told me, but it's like, yeah. But really,
all right. So I'm sorry, Fred. I'm going to put you on pause for 1 second. We're going to get John. Thank you, John, for calling in.
Thank you, John.
My
great
pleasure.
question.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And wow, so many sound effects.
We got two soundboards.
Just trying to give him applause. Yeah.
And then we have time for just one more caller. So all the way from New Zealand.
And then I want to read some Roddenberry quotes at the end. But yes,
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So all the way from New Zealand, a country with so much honor.
I know.
We have
truly.
What's up, Paul? I'm glad you can make the show.
Kia ora, how you going?
Hey.
What time is it?
It's 2:48 in the afternoon here, so so I hardly ever get to join in normally, because normally I'm at work, but currently I'm trapped at home, and not just because New Zealand's a penal colony, obviously, but because we're in a full lockdown here at the moment for the first time in a year, thanks to the Delta.
Way to bring it back around to Tom Paris, by the way. Bravo to you.
The Delta Quadrant variant, yeah. So
there you go. Really,
yeah. Look, this was.
Here we go.
This was a great episode. I finally spilt my drink for real from laughing at an episode of Star Trek, and I feel like spilling a drink is the sign of true humor. It was actually the scene in which, Fred, your Shax there was various theories about how you might have come back to life. Yes. And there was the Picard line, "It's always Christmas in the Nexus." Yeah. And that was it. I lost it, and the drink went. So
Oh,
yeah,
Paul, I'm so happy. That just made my week. Thank you.
it was
I'm
worth
glad
the
you
spillage. I
enjoyed it.
really enjoyed it. Look, Fred, firstly, you are so loved, not just by the Star Wars universe, the He-Man universe, and now the Star Trek community. Your character's so
man.
perfect for this show. It's great having you back. It's just
Hey,
great.
thanks, Paul. It's an honor for me too. Thank you.
I did hear you say at the top that you might not have all the answers to the questions, so I'm going to go real easy on you. And so,
Please do. They're
so
hard questions.
with Jonathan Frakes coming back as Riker and Robert Duncan McNeil as Tom Paris showing up, I was just wondering, who might you, as a Star Trek fan, like to see cameo in Lower Decks and bring their character back to life?
Oh man, I always liked Odo. He's passed away. Rene Aubergenois. I know, not to be a downer, but dang, he just was I just love that guy, and I love that character, and I wish we were mentioning Michael Dorn. I would love to see Michael Dorn back.
But
Gosh.
what if
Any
Nana
of
came back?
any of the captains too? I mean, absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
So what, Fred? What if Shax and Kira had a scene together? We could get Nana voice.
What was the last thing you said? What
If you
could
had
what?
If you could have a voice scene
Shax and
with Nana and Kira as Kira, that would be awesome.
It would be amazing. I actually would love that. I
Put
don't
that out there.
Yeah, boy, that's a really great idea. I don't know what it would manifest as though, because Shax always seems to me like such almost a father figure. You know what I mean? Like he would be such a instructional. He would be such a paternal force. You know what I mean? But that would be awesome. And like the stuff that they would have to reconcile, with the stuff that they would have to go through and
Like
explain.
his scar.
Well, the scar is definitely something, and I think that may have defined him. Not the scar alone, but I really think he comes from a very hard past. That's my feeling. When I play him, I don't think of him always as Starfleet. Like there's some people who really try to be Starfleet. They've always tried to be. I think he fell into it because it was the right thing to do, and I think he did it later. I really do. That's just by the way, I might be fired and for saying that, but I really do. I really do. He doesn't have, he just has mad skills. And I think he has, I think he's been through quite a bit. So for him to encounter, Akira Nerys or anybody that would be of his culture or of a time, where they were being, overtaken or tortured or whatever, I think he could really bring something to it. And I would love to see something like that. Absolutely.
So like a Gul Dukat confrontation.
Hey, now.
I'm a huge Cardassian fan. I think they look
know,
so
Cardassians
cool.
are cool.
No, I get it.
I would love that. No, they are cool. They're
I
pretty.
know they're evil, but they look so great.
But they are cool. They're charismatic and lizardly and there's something very cool about them. I agree. But yes, that would be wonderful to see, actually. I'd love to see that.
Good question,
I'd
Paul.
love to see that. Yeah, excellent. Paul.
Oh, good. I'll give up the mic because I think we'd probably all rather hear Fred talk. He's got some Gin Roddenberry quotes, but I just want to quickly say, Ashley, great recap, and I think Mr. Champion may have to raise his game to keep up now.
I see how John just has to raise his game, but I don't.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul,
See
for
what I
saying
did there?
that.
Oh,
Yep,
it's great
$20
talking
is
to
headed
you.
right to you.
Thank you.
The
Thanks,
profits, Paul. Take care.
See you guys.
Take care, buddy.
Oh, that's so funny. Now I don't have to worry about my game. John has to worry about his game, right?
Oh
I'm
my
good.
gosh, you guys.
So you have some Gene Roddenberry quotes you'd like to read for us.
The last time I came on the show, we talked about so many things and we ran out of time, and I'm so honored I got to do some quotes for Roddenberry. We had a video for his anniversary, his birthday, and I just was kind of I still think of these things and I think, wow, whenever I watch the shows or anything, I always think about what a man before time. And right now, how great it would be. We watch the news, and not to get political, but it really does feel like the end of the world. I know it's not, but there's so many bad things going on right now. And that vision, of the future of getting rid of poverty and just the disputes that we all have. I would just love to have, I'd love that in place. But there's 2 things by the prophets I'd like to read to you. And this is something we all can agree with. Science fiction. I'm going to have to read it. Should I read it in Shaq's voice?
Oh, I think you must.
Okay.
I think-
All right, hold on here. I don't like this man's penmanship. He plays me. Yeah, I try to. Yeah, all right, buddy. Step aside. You're good, though. Science fiction taught me to live in the real world. I thought that was beautiful. Here we are. Our galaxy alone is so incredibly vast that the most conservative mathematical odds still add up to millions of planets almost identical to our own, capable of life, even intelligence, and strange new civilizations. Alien beings that will range from the fiercely primitive to the incredibly exotic intelligence which will far surpass humankind. Not Bajor, of course, but you understand. Right? Come on.
Not dragging Bajor at the
He didn't do that. No, sorry.
I'm welling up with a Shaq's tear.
I
Just like you
appreciate
did
that.
in the
Over the
episode.
scar.
Just like over the scar. Right there.
I will say, Fred, you're the first person on Lower Decks to make me cry. I did cry last season when Shax went to the prophets. So it was really beautiful for you to read
Ashley,
those quotes
thank
for
you.
us.
Thank you. That was actually a big thing for me, too. Thank you. Really glad, dear.
But I like
Thank
what you
you.
said before, Fred. It's like he went out like the way he wanted to go out. It wasn't, behind a desk. It wasn't because of bureaucracy. He was fighting for his baby bear, right? So
That's right. He says,
what he
this
does. He
is
fights
the
for life."
greatest day of my life. Yeah, truly.
We should all be so lucky to go out in the same way.
Truly.
Sitting behind these
Absolutely.
desks and these microphones recording Mission Log.
Hey, that's right. I'm right with you.
So I love the you have your own little production machine I can see on the side. Is that
Yeah.
yeah? so-
Well, I've been traveling around. I'm calling you in from Macon, Georgia, right now, because
Okay.
my wife is working on a production out here. She's an art director, and
Okay.
it was just too long to be interesting. When you have her job, it is like being on a spaceship for 5 weeks or 4 months or whatever. It's too long to be apart from the family. So I just said, let's bring the kid, 3-year-old kid, myself. Fortunately, I'm able to work remotely, which is really a blessing. And I got I got my little rinky-dink, traveling sound thing with my soundboard, and I've been able to record. And if I can't do that, I record from a studio, or in Atlanta, or we were in Hawaii for a while, so Honolulu, it just depending on where we were. I'll be back home in LA soon, but it's just been very lucky to be able to be working remotely. One of the
Are you pretty adept at setting up your own equipment now that you have to be remote like this?
Yes, I am. The thing you need though, you got to have Ethernet. You got to have a very good internet. That's
True.
the key. That's
True,
key.
true,
If you
true.
don't have that, you can record and send in stuff, but you really have to have like a place that allows you to have decent internet. So
I also
it's
like how
nice.
you described your setup as rinky dink when it's clearly the most superior setup that we've seen
Like,
on
it's
the
pretty-
show
it's-
today.
it's pretty pro, right?
Thanks. You're very kind. Very kind. Yeah, it's just like I got my cloth. I got walls with cloth on it. I got my microphone and
Oh yeah, we all got those good sound blankets.
you know
right?
what I mean. Yeah, come on. These things are not foolproof, but they work really well. It's
I
really
just have
funny.
this
We're
digital
all,
fantasy behind me, so you can't see like my rabbits terrorizing the back of my room here.
oh, really?
Yeah.
How old is your rabbit?
I have two 2-year-old rabbits, Buffy
How
and Pippin.
Awesome. What?
Buffy and Pippin.
Oh man, if I didn't respect you even more. That's
Are we
great.
doing animal time? Can you see mine? Hang on.
Where is yours?
Kitty.
Where is it?
Right
You got a kitty?
there.
Yes, she's looking for Dr. Ta'ana's box.
Let me see here. I know. By the
Here, I'll
way,
go pick
Dr.
'em up,
Tiana
'cause
is
we're
really
at that part
his
of the
love. Shax, I think Shax really likes.
Oh
that's-
yeah,
that's-
do tell. We have a few
I'm not
minutes
gonna.
here.
I can't tell anymore, but I'm just gonna say there's
Oh.
definitely
Oh,
there's
he's
definitely
so
a bond there.
mad.
Okay.
Oh, come on, let's see Ashley. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, you are so cute.
You want to be famous on the internet? No. Okay.
that Brago?
Beautiful cat. How old?
He's 3, so he's finally a grown-up.
Oh, he's great. That's a good age.
He hates being held, so that was a
Oh, yeah,
real treat for
sometimes.
me.
No, beautiful. Tabby?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
he
great.
was found him in a box. They found him in a box in Pasadena by the side of the road. So
Isn't it amazing?
adopt, don't shop.
There wasn't like a small like wooden doll in that box, was there? That was splintered and torn to pieces.
I wish I could say there was, but I don't know if he's fixed, so I don't think he would have needed it.
Oh, just curious.
Okay,
One
so
last thing, Fred.
Sure.
Sorry, Ashley. One last thing before we go. What one little tidbit or little bit of a spoiler can you tell us for next week? Because we saw Shax do something that was a little, naturey. Hunting
Naturey?
the Magato. Hunting the Magato. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is Magato poop.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, do. I will say this. Let's just hint at this. Oh gosh, I hope that nobody minds. Music?
Don't put yourself in trouble.
Yeah. He may have love of things that you might not expect.
That's an amazing teaser. I love that.
Okay, are you serious? I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't want
Yes, I am. No,
Yes, because I'm literally making a note to discuss that next week.
Oh, please. Yeah, there may be something you might be surprised. I was surprised. I was.
See, and that kind of like cascades the whole thing. It's like, well, Shax came back, but he's not really wired properly. Now he has going to be exposed to things that we might not know that he likes.
That's right.
So
That's
does
right.
he like spicy kiwi condiments, or is this just something wacky because his wires got crisscrossed?
I think you have to know. Okay, I'm going to say this. It's him. It's still him.
I know.
Unless I get surprised. I'm
Okay.
playing it. Okay, we're going to be real here, and hopefully they don't shut me down. I'm playing it as though this is him. I'm not doing anything different, in terms of like, yeah, there might be some wires crossed, but it's all just I have come through somehow. This is still me. But there are things that I wasn't aware I might be into. Let's just put it like that. And it's a lot of fun. I am so happy for this progression. That's all I'm going to say. I'm very. It only adds to him. Seriously.
That is so perfect. I think that's the perfect note to end your teaser on without getting us into any more trouble than we're already in.
No, I'll get a call in a minute. No.
Fred, thank you so much for
God.
coming back on the show. It's been a real pleasure.
Again,
and meeting you for the first time. It's been fantastic.
Really wonderful to meet you guys, and what an honor. And good night, or Vaka a Bantal. Vaka a Bantal. That's saying walk with the prophets. So.
What a
Thank you so much,
blessing,
Fred.
truly.
Really? Yeah, really, really, really. And Ashley, thank you so much, my dearest.
Thank
for
you.
being with me tonight.
So
Thanks
good.
to everybody here in the chat that has joined us live or who's going to join us later. So Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, executive producer Rod Roddenberry. Technical production on Mission Log Live is done by the Guardian of the Black Mountain, Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry podcasts. And if you would like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/missionlog. Thanks to everyone who joined us here or will join us later. Stay safe, stay healthy. I wanted to say healthy with as much enthusiasm as possible. Enthusiasm, stay healthy. We look forward to talking with you next week. Thank you, Guardian of the Black Mountain.
I have to run, sweet friends, but thank you for everything, Fred. It was
Ashley.
truly a pleasure.
A pleasure and honor. What fun. Thank
Be
you so
safe,
much.
make good choices.
Yes, you too. Good luck with the kitty.
Yes. Fred, thanks so much.